right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Blue Sky Stream. I am your midday host, Coach Rizzler, here at the Blue Sky. Let's get started with the morning news. How about that? All right. Good morning, everyone. Bringing you the high level heat on what's moving the tape today. We've got massive geopolitical storms brewing that is shaking up NASDAQ, sending gold on a roller coaster and putting a rocket under crude oil. Here's what you need to know Nasdaq is showing some serious nerves this morning as investors weigh the impact of soaring energy cost on corporate margins. Futures are have ripped this morning. Yeah, for some odd reason that says that they're flat. Why is that? Okay, tech tech hates rising yields. The focus today is on inflationary pressure with oil prices spiking and the war premium is making traders reassess the Federal Reserve's path. Don't be surprised if rate cut expectations for the summer start getting a pushback into summer. So basically, like September, we'll be looking at it. If this is flat, I'm a unicorn. That makes two of us, Breezy. Hey, Gemini is slacking today. Gemini is slacking big time today. Watch out for high growth tech names. Could see some selling pressure if the 10-year yield comes in, creeps up on us. These are inflation fears. Gold has been wild, hit a record high of 5,300 earlier this week before catching a breather. The gold is currently hovering around, what are we at on gold right now? We're at 5,159. We're seeing a classic safe haven bid as versus a strong dollar fight. On one hand, the conflict in the Middle East is driving people into yellow metal. On the other, the USD is flexing its muscle because of higher oil prices that equal higher inflation, which means higher for longer rates. Let's get back to NQ. Levels to watch out for on gold. Keep an eye on the floor of 5,118. If that breaks, we might see a deeper correction towards 5,000. If resistance stays firm at 5,300. Crude oil. The big story is crude oil is on a tear, up about 11 to 15% since the start of the US-Israeli conflict in Iran 5 days ago. Iran has claimed control of the Straits of Hormuz, a choke point for 20% of the world's oil. President Trump just announced the US Navy may begin escorting tankers and providing political risk insurance to keep trade moving. Brent crude is pushing 84 and WTI is trading near 76, 77. Analysts are warning that if the conflict drags on, we could see a moonshot towards 120, even $150 a barrel. Expect serious volatility in energy stocks today. If the Navy starts moving, we might see a temporary relief dip in prices, but the war premium is very much intact. All right, thoughts for the day, team. Stay liquid, stay disciplined. The news cycle is moving faster than Solana transactions right now. Watch those charts and let's have a great trading day. Good luck, everyone. All right, that's the morning news. What a heck of a move on the NASDAQ this morning, though. Talk about a bullish move. I saw this double top here that happened, and I was trying to capitalize on it. So it took a few points off of that. Just waiting for some levels here now. Since we're at these levels, I didn't catch the bump up to 26 at the consolidation. So I want to see if we can get above the prior high. See if we can get above 25, 151. We're about 2 minutes away from the London close as well. So we might see the Brits repositioning themselves here, which it seems like that might be the case. Possibly taking soon long since we haven't sold very much into their closing session. Don't forget, this is the London power hours, last like 2 minutes. There were rumors of peace talks last night. Was there rumors of peace talks last night? I didn't see that. And the market has just kind of just calmed down a little. I want to see that momentum keep in carrying us in the market, because if we lose too much momentum into New York lunch, which is in 30 minutes, we'll start to sell. We'll retrace. We'll retrace into a support area. And I don't want to see that. I'd like to see a continuation of the upside push. We don't have a lot of overhead resistance. You know, the bears have gotten smoked this morning already. So you won't have many bears in the market. But if the sentiment changes to bearish, yeah, it'll be really easy that they can sell us, and you might even get an elevator down ride. So don't marry your bias today, team, as I always say. What's up, Breezy? How'd you do this morning? Did you make any money on gold today? Kind of a flat session for gold, though. To be honest with you, a lot of consolidation. Let's look at crude oil. I don't get CL on the list. Hey, there it is. Same thing with crude oil, mostly consolidation. Looks like it wants to push lower. Let's take a look at the Dixie and see what the US dollar is doing right now. US dollar is kind of down. We're down 0.3%, 0.23% for the day, slightly down. Under the 200, which is good if you want to see the market continue to the upside. So I do like that. Although, like I said, the market is kind of struggling. Trying to push, trying to push. Let's go. All right, let's roll on back over to gold. Well, let's take a look at silver. Let's see what silver's doing. Same thing with silver, slightly pushing downward. I need to check my Solana trade. I'm in a Solana short right now as well. I'm in a Solana short, and I'm in what, one, two, three, four. I'm in 4 accounts right now long with the I'm long in one account right now. I'm ES at 6,872. I'm in 2 MES cons, and the rest are three cons. They're in a little bit of drawdown right now, so but we're all right. It's been a heck of a morning so far for me. So put some money in some PAs, like $300 away from passing another eval, and the rest of my accounts are all good. So even the options port, I definitely slept though. I definitely slept this morning and missed some phenomenal trades, which I'm a little mad at myself. But you know, it happens. Life of a trader, right? Let's get rid of these browsers. These, I'm gonna get rid of you. Free up some resources. Let's see if we can wait and just be a little patient. Maybe we can catch an entry for our next trade. Dang, let's go, Breezy. 7 Gs. You're still in that position, then it looks like, right? 30K day. Wow. Amazing. Congrats. You doing copy trading? Is that what you're doing? Copy trading those accounts? Put my stop in the money on this position. So stop. Let's see if I can show this. Last time I tried to do this, it didn't want to show it. Yeah, for some odd reason, I can't show my other chart. Let's see. Yeah, for some odd reason, I just can't show the chart on here. It just will not pop up. Is this in a group? I want to delete this. Remove these two items. What two items? I'm just trying to figure out what is going on with this. You know what? I'm just gonna leave this for now. I'll have to figure this out later. I don't know why this is like grouped into something. Group, ungroup, see now. If I want to delete this, I remove this. There's two items. I'll have to figure this out later. I don't want to mess with this right now. Oh, we're getting that push now. Come on, let's go. Hey, we're almost green in those three other accounts. We're just down $26 per account. Not bad. Come on, let's get that rep. Go ahead and get me one number. I am one of the kids. I gotta go to the card shop today. Really? You do like Pokemon, basketball, baseball? You collect? You're all into Pokemon? Nice. Yeah, my wife and I, we recently pulled out our comic books and baseball, basketball card collections. So our kids are going through them. It's pretty funny though. It's really funny to see the kids, not realize the value that some of those things have. I've been telling my sons for like the last year or two, I was like, hey, I got crates of comic books and I've got comic books from when, I was like 3, 4, 5 years old. So I got comic books from like the 70s. Wolverine, Spider-Man, Superman, Iron Man. I was like, you guys need to go through that stuff. It's like a little gold mine right there. I was like, go look through that stuff. And I have all my comic books and everything all like put away in sleeves. At like one point, I actually went through and I had started to kind of price them out back in the day. So they had little cards where I would write the price and stuff. Really fun, just to see what I was doing back then. And some of those, yeah. So make a long story short, they've gone through like maybe a third, yeah, a third of our collection, and we're like already at like $3,000 in just collectibles and comics and cards. It's crazy. They were just freaking out. They were freaking out. My oldest was like, "Dang, Dad, I could use that for a down payment on a car." And I said, "Well, I told you that like a year ago." And he's got his car already, but it's just a lot of money. He's like, I tell him, I was like, there's ways that you can leverage your money, enjoy something for yourself and have something that might have some intrinsic value. I was like, don't be wasting your money on clothing, I was like, clothing and that stuff that it's nice and all, but at the end of the day, when it goes out of style and you sell it, you don't get anything for it, I mean, it's just, it's criminal, you pay so much for a shirt or a pair of jeans, they turn around and it's out of style and you try to sell it, and you don't get nothing for it, yeah, no, it's just one of those things. I was like, you could buy yourself some comics, stuff like that, and just save them. And, in a year or two, they'll have a little bit more value if you get something good, or if you invest in something, that has, some value. He was like, yeah, it makes sense. I was like, yeah, I know it does. What are we doing here? Come on. Oh my God. It looks like they want to give us a triple top. Oh my God. That's gross. I just got stopped out on one of my positions. Yeah, this is looking pretty gross. Let's see if we break under the 26. We break under the 26, it's short. The Bears are going to have it. They're going to have a field day with this thing. The volume's kind of kicking in now. 8 minutes past the London close now. Sorry, I'm just kind of waiting right now. It's a no trade zone for me, especially for you guys in stream watching. We have to break levels, We either gotta break above, basically we gotta do one of these two things for me to want to and consider taking the trade. Where's my thing? There. All right, perfect. We need to get out of this box. We need to do something. I could care less as an investor what we do outside that box, but we either got to get above it or below it because that will be your trend. Because right now, otherwise, you'll chop. And you'll have to be real careful on it if you try to trade this. Although that is a nice little W that's right there, right? It's really interesting. It could go either way. I'm a big pattern trader if you guys haven't realized that already. So, I'm all about patterns. Keep it simple, stupid. I'm an old army guy. So my thing is all about that. Just keep it simple, stupid. My drill sergeant drilled that into my head. And I like to keep it like that because if it's not complicated, then it's easy. And I like easy. I don't like hard. I don't want something that's I got to rack my head around on how to figure it out. Exactly. Dummy proof. And you usually get a pretty high bias that if you see that, there's a metric ton of people that also see that. So you got to kind of think about that. I feel like you're a Marine. I wasn't a Marine. I'm Army. I'm Army. A bunch of my friends are Marines. A bunch of my friends were Marines, and my buddies wanted me to be a Marine, but I wasn't dumb enough. They hate that. They hate that when I say it. I was like, I would have been a Marine with you guys, but I just wasn't dumb enough. I didn't score low enough on my ASVAB to be able to get into the Marines. He was like, no, you need to go somewhere else. If he figured out you were golden. No. Nice, nice. Yeah, it's always nice having somebody that you can lean on that you know that they can accomplish the mission. And I don't mean any disrespect to any Marines out there. Just in case we got any of our troops out there in the interwebs. No offense, guys. I love you all. All fun and games, exactly. Well, let's see if we can hold this dub. I got stopped out of my one play. Algos are running me up right now. Almost like $52 in the hole now. I need another like $300 and passing me down. There we go. Now we're getting it. Okay, so let's see. Wait for the candle to close. I'm gonna lower my orders and let's get ready. I'll see if I can grab one at 25,133. Let's see if we get a wick down on the next candle. Catch that, and then we'll push into that. Let's see, we would just get that wick down, and then we'll just push through. Oh, look at that. We're green on the algo trades again. Let's go. Oh, snap. I need to check my Solana trade. We're shorting Solana, and I don't want to be in drawdown. Well, that's no good. Well, that's no good. We're down like $6 in the Solana trade. Holy moly. God, this lack of volume is terrible. Oh, where's my other chart? Man, I should have went long off of what is that? Thank you. Sorry, I was looking at MES on the other chart. Oh, we didn't even touch that. Maybe we should switch over to ES. Dang it. I hate chasing it. But we've been chasing stuff all week, right? You guys know me, I'm pretty aggressive, so I like to chase the trade. Oh lordy. All right, let's just wait. Let's just be patient. Let's just be patient. I'll put my buy limit there. I'm gonna drop down to I'm gonna drop down to a sub time frame. I want to see if I can catch an entry on this. I know what Breezy's gonna say. He's like, you're insane, you're on the 15. I like the 15. I like the 15. You can see a strong trend on the 15-second. Look, this is what I look for. That's clear as day to me. That's why it's really important that you all look at the other time frames, is because when you see strength like that, it makes it fairly easy and getting used to it, because the 90 EMA is a very strong EMA. You know that from Coach Matt. Coach Matt loves it just like I do. You know, it's one of our favorite indicators. I think I'm gonna close these trades. We're at 15, 18, what, $67 across three accounts. Oh, there's $100, 40. You know, we're gonna stay in the trade a little bit longer. Yeah, I'm not ready yet. I'm just looking at price on the main chart y'all are watching. I just don't want us to dip in. Come on, keep pushing it, Bears, Bulls. Come on, Bulls. Take us Take us to that Lambo. I'm trying my man. We're not getting Lambos, Nacho. We're not getting Lambos. We're getting Raris, bro. We're getting Raris. All right, cool. We took that for $47 per account. See, am I in this position in another account? I think I am. Oh, come on. And we didn't even get caught on that. Oh my God. What is going on? Can you guys still hear me in Discord? I'm having a little bit of issues with my network. I lost like sound and everything. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Thank you, Blasky. Appreciate you, bro. How's your morning going for you, Blast? Damn, I should have followed that. I should just chased it. So I get for being scared. I'm trying to be a little precautious, even though I shouldn't, we're in a very strong uptrend day. What? 'Some issues with the platform that I can't get into, and I'm trying to close those open trades. 13. I'm trying to get into my accounts. I can't get into any of my accounts now. I just lost access. Oh my God. on here. They're gonna make me do this again, jeez. Okay, let's log in again. Charts. Let's see if I can get in on this account. Yeah, I even lost Ninja Trader access. I can't log in to Ninja Trader now. Okay, I think everything is out now. Okay, that group of 6 accounts is clear. Sorry, team. Again, I apologize for that. I'm just trying to deal with a few accounts here for a second. Oh, where's the other one? Oh, where's that bot? Where's that bot? Yeah, Ooh, I was panicking. I'm getting close to my entry. But are we gonna run out of steam? That's the scary part about this. So my friend shut it down for me. So those are all off. I still don't know what's going on with this. Oh my god, they didn't come on. 14 points. You could have just scooped me up. Could have done some swoopy swoopy. Oh my god. See, that's what I get for not watching. Not watching what I'm doing. I chihuahua. Okay. All right. Oh. All right. Let's see. Where's this? Let's turn this off because I don't want to. Let's turn this off completely. I think we're done with it. With that for the day. I'm not gonna let all go straight for me the rest of the day. Especially if I'm having issues with this stuff. Oh, all right. So 7 minutes till the London close. All right. How is my Solana short doing? Still underwater in it. No bueno. But it took the trade. I turned off cross margin on my account. I didn't take overnight trades. I would have made a ton of money on my Solana trades, but I turned off cross margin because I don't want to use my whole port's margin. But by doing isolated or single asset margin, I didn't realize that it wouldn't take the trade because I didn't have enough margin in there. So I'm like, yeah, no, flip flop. What's up, Zonic? Good to see you on the interwebs, broski. How you doing? Good morning to you. Ain't seen you in forever, bro. Hope you're well. Can I get in now? Let's see. Trying to get back in. Really weird. I can only get into Ninja Trader through desktop trading view. I can't use the web. I was having some weird issues last night. I was having some stuff that just would not even run for me. I'm gonna cancel this for now. Maybe we'll see a little pullback here into New York lunch, like I said. Got a new intraday high set on NASDAQ at 25,172. Do have some pretty good targets below. So if they want to take profit and pull it back, it could get pretty it could be pretty tasty. You can make a metric ton of money off of that. That's for sure. Could equate into some pretty darn good money. Is that? Don't need to see that one. Can open that one. Don't need that one. Wait. Oh, I need this one for sure. And Twitch. Boom. I hadn't turned on all my chat windows yet. With everything else starting up, I just wasn't on that one yet. Note this, no spam. Get you out of here. Wow. Refresh this chart. Maybe that'll work. Maybe that'll help me out. What are we doing here? Let's go for a short on this. We're 4 minutes away, looking a little weak. Put our stop at the prior high and let's just see. Buy stop. Let's see if we can get down to the 200. Buy limit. See if we get a little just, relief from taking profits. Here we go. Come on. I know I'm fighting the trend, but I just want to see if we'll get a little cool off going into New York lunch. Small amount of risk. What do you think, Blasky? Get a little breather, load up some more bulls, and we'll launch it right there off of 25,104-ish. Better raise this up a little. Raise this up just the smidge. You're gonna put that at 25.13. Let's see if we can get that. Come on. I do see some bearish divergence. So bears are trying. Let's see if they can just give us a few points down, though. All right, let's see if we have any announcements. Oh, we got some promotions. Okay, let's see what promotions Makaram dropped for us this morning. Everything is on sale. The $100 flash accounts. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa. Things are getting messy. $100 flash accounts. Use the code for the account you want. 100K premiums, flash 100. 200K statics, flash 200. 300K statics, flash 300. Perfect time to sign up for an account with those kind of sales going on. Heck, I think I'm gonna pick up. I'm thinking about picking up a static, a 200K static. I haven't done a big account in a while. I love 25K accounts. Do you? I love 25K accounts. Those are my favorite. Those are my very favorite. My way of thinking is if you can't pass a 25K, you can't pass a single account. And you're going to over leverage. You're always going to over leverage and you'll never get where you want to get. If you can pass a 25K with M&Q cons, You'll be all right. You'll be a good trader, in my opinion. Because then it means that you can manage a very small port with the lowest amount of drawdown, depending on the platform. And they're cheap. Can't beat them. The prices for the 25Ks is dirt cheap. Well, the other thing I'm also a firm believer in, Mr. Positive, is trade what you can afford. You know, that is like one of my like biggest things is that you have to trade what you can afford. You know, if you can't afford a Nasdaq con, why? I understand trading in, but why would you want to get proficient at that if you can't afford it? It's like I'm going to learn how to fly a helicopter, yet I don't own a helicopter. And I probably will never own a helicopter. It doesn't make any sense for me to learn it. If it's not my job and I won't have it, at least for a good long time, I just can't see a reason why I would want to focus on that and hone my skill. I'd rather focus on something I can afford. And I know that, at the end of the day, I can pull together a few $100 and I could trade that with my own real money. That's kind of the rationale for why I always say that. And I lean towards that. Come on. Come on, push it down. Stop playing with my emotions. That's it? Come on. Give us a little bit of that pullback. We're going to push all-time highs in the market. And welcome to New York lunch team. Expect some volume to leave the market due to institutional traders being done for their day. So it'll be a retail investor market for the rest of the session until power hour. So a little bit more organic moves in the market. I'm hoping for a little bit more of a deeper pullback here, but we shall see what New York lunch brings us. They're going to give us the rip or the dip. I'd like a little dip. Rip into power hour maybe. I'm definitely fighting the trend though. I am fighting the trend. Come on, baby boy, drop it low. There are other chats. Hey, Terrain, how's it going? Good morning to you. What is that? What do you mean, what is that? Yeah, if you could let me know what your question is. Not really clear on it. Going up. It does look like it's going up. I'm just trying to see if I can scalp it to the short side. Usually during lunch, we'll get if we've been moving up, we'll get a pullback on it. At least that's my idea. That's my idea. We'll get a pullback into New York lunch, and then about midway through, you get the bounce. So what I'm kind of hoping for, I'm hoping we get this. That's what I'd like to see. Because it won't go in a straight line. Ah! They're going to get me, though. But that's why we're in a small lot. We're in a mini micro. It's so you can make mistakes. You can be wrong. You're in a full size lot. You're down $280 right now. If you took this in a full size lot, that's your biggest problem is you can't be wrong. You're already down $280. You're down what, a fourth of your drawdown probably, depending on your account size. How are you supposed to learn and give yourself an opportunity to get good at this if you can't even make a mistake? And then the mistake you make is going to burn you to where you're going to be frustrated, and then you're going to start oversizing, You're going to miss leverage, and then you blow the account. Boom. Fast as fast can be. And then you can't let the trade do anything because you're too busy freaking out that you're down $300 that you couldn't afford to lose. And that's not the way to trade. The other thing we could do with this is we could also scale into it. And that's a nice thing about the M and Q cons is you could scale in. So like we could add another cell, and we're only into mini micros. Add one more. We're pretty close to it now. Now we're in with 3 cons, and now we're only $28 out of it now. Close this. Let's see if we can scale in and get ourselves out of this. Let's try that. Come on. The bad thing is I'd have to add like 2 more cons just to bring my entry right to where price is. Come on. Come on, give it to us. Come on, a little bit further back. I know you can do it. There's that pull. Come on, just a few more. Do it. Oh, no, you were right. Come on. Just give me a little bit more of a pullback on it. We get above 175, I'll cut the trade. I won't let it go because then we're going to rip. Come on, just a few more points down. And we're not heavily sized. We're in 3M and Q cons. So, you got less than what, about almost a quarter of a full size lot on this. So, like I said, plenty of room to allow yourself to trade the market without blowing an account, especially if you guys are on like a 50K or a 200K static. Come on. Come on. Just a little more. Just a little more. Oh my God, you're almost there, please. Just do it. Come on. But I'm gonna hold this a little bit longer, I think. Yeah, let's hold it a little bit longer. I like the way this is playing out. Let's see. Although you got to get under the 26, it's going to be a little difficult. 26 EMA is kind of sticky. You might just get a wick down. If the uptrend is going to be strong, it'll wick out of it. Come on, just a few more points. Come on, baby, do it. Do it for coach. Come on. Come on. Give us that sell. So close yet so far. See, and like I said, you're fighting the 26 and you're trying to get under the EMAs. It's the sub time frames, but you can see the pattern will develop on these time frames. And we're getting kind of choppy, so you can see that the trend has gone away. So like this whole strong trend here that we had in these earlier sessions, is gone away. So you can see how the chop is starting to come in. So usually what that means to me is when you see that, we'll start to range. You won't see the expansion as much anymore. You'll start to see the pullbacks and where the market wants to get into a range. So that's exactly why I look at these very low time frames, because you want to be able to see the strength in the market. And sometimes when you're on the weights high time frames, it's just like big, big, big candle. And there's no way to get on that stair step. And then you don't know when the chop is going to kick in, you know? But let's see. But if they can get it, you'll get a nice sell. And they might even bring us back down to this box here. They bring us back in this box, then we'll range all through lunch. You get that range in the lunch and you just kind of oscillate in this range before you either get that breakout or the breakdown. Heck, Solana's ripping. There you go. Bulls are fighting. There's still some decent volume in the market here. I'm just going to put my, I should probably put my stop. Let's just put my stop. Come on, get it down. Yeah, we got a lot of resistance overhead. We got a big old order block above us. So you'd have to break above 25 182 for that really bullishness to kick in for the upside move. So it's just a big old bearish order block all up here. There's a bunch of sell orders just sitting above us right now. So you'd have to have the volume to be able to eat through that. Let's see though. Someone's going to be right, someone's going to be wrong. Hopefully I'll make some money though, either way. Come on, baby. Give me a few more points. Oof. Come on. Finally getting it. Finally getting that downside push. Time to work, but always be safe. Have a great day, Nacho. Have a great day. Oh, come on. Do it. Do it. Just tap it. Oh, why? Yes, let's go. Let's go. Flawless execution on that. See, guys, and that's exactly why you do not want to use full size lots. That is a perfect reason why you do not want to use full size lots. If you guys are just starting off in your first year, and if you're struggling, and you're using full size lots, shame on you. Shame on you because you should know better. Or it's a perfect time to learn that lesson. If you're still struggling and you're blowing accounts, what is your sizing? How big of a lot size are you taking? A lot of traders feel like there needs to be skin in the game, right? That's the very beginning stage of trading. Everybody feels that they need to have skin in the game. They have to be profitable. They need to have money that's part of the process so that whatever the reason may be for them. But a lot of traders think that way. I was the same way when I first started. I felt that I needed to have money in the game so that I wasn't wasting my time. But time is money, and so is money. Money, you can't just replace money, and you just can't replace time. But at one point, you have to give and take. Is it worth you giving up your hard-earned cash while you learn? You could trade M2K. That's a mini micro of the Russell. It's just as volatile, and then you do not have to put yourself at extended risk. Look at this. You're going with one con. You're losing 50 cents a point. You're losing 50 cents a point. You tell me you're going to blow a 50K account with 50 cents a point? I mean, it would take a metric ton of points for you to blow a 50K account. But you're learning. You're going to be able to learn. You're going to be able to make mistakes. And hopefully at the end of it, you'll have a better experience and you're going to learn. You're going to learn how to trade, and maybe you'll even make some money at the end of it. Hopefully so. But I definitely do recommend looking at the mini micros. It's just like silver. You want to trade silver, now you can trade 100-ounce silver, which is the mini micro. And you can add, of course, you can add to the position. You saw me. You guys just saw me just a moment ago. Don't set yourself up for failure. There's only one person that can really help guide you in trading, and that's you. You're the first person in that line of defense that's going to either make you or break you. So don't set yourself up for failure because you're going for that crazy trade. That's why I say, the 25K accounts are great accounts to learn in. They're inexpensive. The cost of participation on those is just right, in my opinion. It's not going to break the bank. And if you make a mistake, it's not as costly as a 200K or, a 300K account. So, there's a lot of that. You guys got to really evaluate how you're managing yourself. Remember, you guys are business owners. You're running your own little business. You're self-employed entrepreneurs as investors. And the last thing you want to do is screw yourself over. Because think about it. You go in, you're like, oh, I'm going to take 2-3 lots. You just blew that account. You blew the account, so you failed. You just threw money away. And you didn't learn anything. The only thing you learned is that that trade blew your account. There's nothing meaningful that you'll gain out of that experience. And it's a very important thing. And also, you don't want to discourage yourself from trading because then you're going to feel like this is impossible. I'm never going to make money. I'm never going to make it. I'm the worst trader ever. I suck at this. I need to quit. Why am I doing this to myself? Why do I do this? Think about it. Think about it. Have you guys said that to yourself? That's not positive reinforcement. You're setting yourself up for worse failure now. Now you're acknowledging that you're going to lose. Now you're acknowledging that you're the worst, and you're acknowledging that you shouldn't be doing this. So you can see how that snowball just starts to rollerball into this big spew of negativeness. It's not going to help you at all in your trading. If anything, it's going to set you up in a worse position than you were to begin with, because at least at the beginning you were optimistic and you felt motivated to do this thing. But that's my spew on mini micros. So stick to those mini micros, definitely. Solana's doing all right. Let's go back to MNQ, see what we're doing over here. A little base. It was a nice little pullback. It wanted to get into that box, I tell you. See, that's one reason why I look at the lower time frames. Sometimes the higher time frames are just too hard. And then especially if I might be looking for a pivot, I bet you we could have held that short for a while, probably towards the end, till the end of New York lunch. What's up, Ron? Morning. How's your day going so far? You make some money today? My morning has been great. I'm a little disappointed in myself. I didn't. Well, that was really strange. I just got booted off of booted from the stage. Sorry about that. Morning has been great so far. Morning has been good so far. I'm a little disappointed in myself. I paper handed some options in the morning session. They would have netted me, I don't know. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to, you know what? I should talk about it because that's just part of the process. Let's see what those 611s are at. They're up. I would be up 500% on the trade I took this morning. So I would have turned 40, wait, no, $34 into $125 if I'd held the contracts. And I had a dozen of them. I only ended up making 5% across on it, which equates to, I think it was like $8 or $9 a contract, which is still money, but I'm trying to be strict. I'm trying to be really strict. I've been working on getting my, I've taken a few hits on my options account for the last 2 weeks. So I'm really trying to stick to my rules of risk management, which really sucks because I would have probably ended up being green for the whole. I would have probably made up all my losses. But how do you know? How do you know? You never know. That's just trading. You can't. You know, you can't blame yourself and you can't follow yourself for it because you just don't know. None of us are mind readers. It's just like last night. I had a long on Solana. I cut it because I was down like $5, and if I would have held it for another like 30 minutes, I had already been cooking in the trade for a while. But I saw the market kind of pulling back, and I figured crypto was going to pull back with it. And I cut it. And if I would have held it, it would have netted me like 15 or $16. Well, the thing about Mike is this: the trades, his trades are phenomenal, but he has a much larger portfolio than you guys will. And he's also demonstrating for you guys. So he has to have that larger port. So he has that flexibility of being able to sit and manage the drawdown. If you guys are a newer account, if you're in a brand new account, do not take a full size lot. Do not take more than one con. Just take a single contract because you need to give yourself room on those opening. The morning session is super volatile. So you got to understand that, period. The morning session, the very opening bell, is the most volatile time to trade of the whole 23 hours that you can trade the market, the futures market. So that opening 15 minutes, you will see the largest amount of volume you'll see the whole day. So it's really important that you guys kind of realize that if you're going to copy trade and you're going to try to tail him on his trades, you need to have a super small size down. And you know what? It's just time. You do that for 4 weeks, you build up that account and you will be able to size up. But you got to learn to crawl before you walk, baby boy. You got to learn to crawl before you walk. You got to take it the small size lot, grow the account, and then you should be able to take those trades. But in all honesty, well, Tip knows me. I wasn't crawling when I first got on the market. I was running. Hey, you were one of the folks that was worried about me. See, all my friends, none of them were trading. All my trade buddies, they weren't trading futures. They were all options traders. So like all my best friends that are in the trading community, they were all options traders. I was the lone soldier that was was going off the beaten path into futures, and they thought I was crazy because we're doing well. We're doing well, but I wanted more. But I also I have an appetite for learning, and especially things that are complex, and require a talent. I like to learn that kind of stuff. I like challenging things, and the market is very challenging to master. And it's not so much really even mastering the market; it's mastering yourself. But yeah, and really, at the end of the day, you know what you should be doing. You shouldn't be taking trades when Mike is telling you all in the morning session. You should be taking notes. You should be analyzing what is he seeing, how is he seeing, and what gives him that foresight to see those levels and to trade that. So you guys that are, jumping in the morning session, it shouldn't be trading. It should be more so note taking and figuring out what is this mentor teaching you, and how do you see the market through his eyes to be able to take those type of trades, and what is required on it. Yep, exactly, Tip. Taking screenshots of his chart and dissect them. Have those questions. Have some questions, put them in the chat or drop them in the Q&A and tag him. Because it makes no sense that you're following someone on trades and you have no idea what brought that assumption of the trade. Like I could tell you like exactly, I'm breaking it down what made me take the short. I saw exhaustion. I see that we created a morning high. We're going into New York lunch. We've been ripping all morning. I have a narrative. There's X, Y, and Z as to what drew me to that conclusion. I don't think we're going to move any higher because we're approaching New York lunch. We've been consolidating here for over 30 minutes. I'm starting to see red candles on lower time frames. You start checking the boxes to your trade because now you're creating your trade plan. If you guys don't have a trade plan, that is the trade plan. That is how you get to a trade plan. You start checking off those boxes. Okay, I see a red candle. We're under the 9 EMA. Now you have two confluences, right? Like right here. Like right where we're at right here. Now we're seeing confluences. Red candle under the 9 EMA. We're sitting on the 5-minute time frame. You got another 40 seconds of the candle break, and we're back in this box now. Now, what do you want to do? Do you want to go for the 26? And this gives you a trade here that you could try to see if you can take. You put your stop, let's say You want to put it right here at 161. You just came up with a trade idea. I want to see the market. I want to see the market penetrate this. And I want to get to the lower band to see if we can test the 26. You just created the trade idea right there. You created your stop, the rationale, and the reasoning why you're taking the trade. I believe there's going to be continuation. Oscillator is turned down, possibly wait for the pullback and enter into the short. Let's take it. Let's see if we can get to that take. Oh, now let's see. Sent an image. What I do now? What is that? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. That just came up. Sorry about that, team. Sorry. I didn't realize that just popped up. Sorry, Steve. Yeah, I didn't realize that was on the screen. I actually have Screen Labs like behind. Sorry, I have so many windows open. I didn't see that. I apologize for that. I did not realize that that was up on the stream. Sorry, my upper screen is all cluttered. And what is that? Okay, now that's gone. I went ahead and deleted that window. Sorry about that, team. I did not even realize. I wish somebody would have told me that that was up on the screen. I had no idea that that had popped up. Man, we got so close to my take profit. Yeah, I know. I unfortunately I had some messages that I was dealing with, so I couldn't manage the trade better. You know, as like always, you know. So it's okay. It's okay. It's only money. All right, we're at the bottom of the hour, halfway through New York lunch. Don't forget we got a whole lot of training day left in the day, team. So make sure you grab yourself some lunch, get a fresh coffee, bottled water, because it's gonna be a spicy afternoon. I feel like I think the afternoon session is gonna be good today. That explains it. Where did that chat window go? I don't even see the chat window. Oh my god. Do I have any big levels between the dotted lines? Let's see. 104 at 264. We got to go to my NQ chart then. I have to go to this one because this is the chart that has all that. Top side of that is 164, 160. Oh, here. So I've got 172. 172 would be your first level, and we rejected off of that. Man, I wish I had this chart up on the other window. I would have seen that. So you got 172 would be your first mark. So you need to get a candle close above this. These are 4-hour levels, by the way, team. So you got to get a close above 172. And then your next target would be 192. And then if you want a way out there target, would be 228. Those would be my massive upside targets if we're going to do that today. Look, that's what I see right there. Let me get back into my M and Q trade. So that's what I would see. But it looks like we might push through. It looks like they're going to rip us up into the close of New York lunch. We might just get like a crazy push up. It's about the right time. Oh, it's not the right day. Usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays at this very moment, you can get a crazy expansion on the market, like 11:38 a.m. Like I've seen that happen, numerous times. It doesn't mean that it'll happen today because it's obviously not Tuesday or Thursday, but there are Tuesdays and Thursdays at this exact time that you can get a crazy expansion. You don't see anything? Oh, you didn't see it? Here, I'll drop you in a screenshot of this. How about that? I'll drop a screenshot in chat for you so you can take a gander at that. Yeah, and for my other chart that I have off screen, it would be 179. 179 would be your next resistance. But it's a huge order block. It's a huge sell order block. So you got 161 all the way up to 180. So you gotta break through all that. Oh, look, we're starting to get that push now that I had said. I'm gonna get out of this because I don't want to stay in this. Not digging that. Don't want to get stopped out and lose much more money. Let's see if we reject. This is the start of the bearish order block right here on NQ. So you got to get this push, and you're probably going to get it now. There it goes. There's that expansion. Yeah. So if you ever want to set your time, 11:38 a.m., you can see expansions happen. I can't say all the time, but it's frequent enough to where I know it. It's been like that for a year, over a year. It's been like that for over a year. Nice. Congrats, Tip. Yeah, I'm not trading my PAs anymore. I'm done with PAs. I'm done with options trades for the day. You know, just futures the rest of the session now. I'm not gonna trade options anymore after the morning session. I'm gonna. Yesterday was my last day trading afternoon options. I'm not doing that no more. I'm giving up like a metric ton of money in the afternoon session trading options. What's that there? All right, sorry about that, Tim. I was responding to some emails. I was a little like taken with that. All right, let's see what we're doing now. All right. No more messing around. Oh man, Tips, what do you think, man? Think we're gonna break out? That was a nice little push up. It's got to get above this range though, but there's so many sell orders. We haven't even taken out half. Well, we took out half of them now. We took out half the order block now because now it's at 169 we got to get through. So it is a little smaller. Now you have like 10 points of like sell orders you gotta creep through. They're working on it. They're picking at it. I'll be back in just a second. That. All right, still finding this top. Mm-mm-mm. Let's see here. Stream has ended. Well, I guess we're gonna have to wait until the top of the hour now to see if we're gonna get some kind of move on this thing. Made 300. Let's go, Ron. Congrats. I haven't gone through all my accounts to see what my total gains are. I haven't even, yeah, it's too early in the day for me to do that. But let me check out that other account and see where we're at. Let's see. You know what? I'll do that right now. I'll do that right now. See. Okay, so I got 212 on one account. Let me log in the other account now. 236 in another, 229 in the other, 249 in the other, 213 in the other, 75 in another one, and 34.38 in the other. So not bad. I mean, what, like $1,000 roughly? I'm up like $1,000 across all my accounts. But like I said, at least 200 bucks. 200 bucks. But 200 bucks across how many accounts is that? What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. $200, almost $200 across what? 1, 2, 3, 4. Across 4 accounts. 800 bucks. That's a pretty good payday right there for me. Can we take a short now? I don't know. I'm not sure just yet. 6. We had a short that we could have made some money on. We're waiting though. We got 9 minutes till the top of the hour. We got to see how we're gonna look coming out of New York lunch. I mean, yes, you could do a short right here because if you do a short, your risk to reward is pretty big. Because at the worst, what with the single MNQ con, you have to go up a few more points above it, but we'll have to go to the right here. Would be our next. Yeah, you'd have to put your stop at about 186 roughly, just to make sure you got enough of of room on it. So you could go short there just because you're only risking 50 bucks. I wouldn't risk a bigger lot size than that because you can always add. You know, you get to the $100, you can add it $100, you know, because that's enough room from your entry that you could actually add, and you don't have to be as scared of it pulling back on you. But you can't add much sooner than that. You have to wait until the contract is at least like 60. I would say $100. If you're at $100, that's a good place you can add. Anything lower than that, you're really running the risk that it'll pull back very quickly on you. So it's all a matter of what your risk to reward is and what your lot sizing is. We did that earlier. You made more money than most day jobs. You know, and that's all it is, Ron. 200 bucks. That is my thing. 200 bucks a day. Because it substantiates me being here. You know, I'm not trying to be Michael Jordan. And don't get me wrong, like Nacho and I joke about, Nacho wants his Lambo. I want my Ferrari. I want my Ferrari 812. But you know what? It's not going to come overnight. It's going to take me a little bit of time. You know, it's going to take me some time and work. And that trade now is going against us. Kind of why I wouldn't want to take a trade, you know, going into the top of the hour because you can get kind of see this happening. You're too close to the top of the hour where what you could end up seeing is they'll make the 1 hour candle. So what they'll end up doing is they'll push the 1 hour candle up. You get the wick, and then it'll come down. To me, that to me, more often than not, this is what I'll see. You'll see the run up and then you run down. I don't like this in that color. Let's change the color of this. You get the run up and then you get the run down. So let's see. Let's see what happens. I'll put some dots on my screen here. And then, you know, like we did earlier, you know, you can always scale into the position. You know, like I said, you won't want to scale in too early on it. Uh, you know, Ron, the best thing I can suggest is to focus on the time. You know, I'm sorry, six. The best thing I can suggest is find a average time that you can trade. You know, like a time of day that you can always trade on at and focus on that time of day. Because there's a trend that will reoccur during that time. Like every day around the clock, you know, when the market is open, there throughout the hours of the day, there's always patterns. But those patterns will repeat because just like you were there at your desk trading at that time of day, there's an algo or someone else trading at their desk that same time of day as well. You know, personally, I believe that discipline is very important being a trader, you know, and discipline starts off with a routine, having a consistent routine of what you do day in, day out, because that's a pattern. And if your pattern starts aligning with the market, you create a cohesive that you're working with the market, you know, just like a job, you know, like I always say, you know, you got to treat it like a job, you know, your business, you know, you open at a certain time each and every day because you're expecting something to be there. You know, it doesn't always come, but you have to be there with the doors open, ready to work. And I think trading is exactly the same way. That's how I kind of frame it. I got my morning routine I like to do. I wake up, I go brush my teeth, I wash my face, use the bathroom, go make myself up a cup of coffee. I'll read the morning news. So just got to get a glance as to what's happening. Has there been any overnight news that might have occurred that can give me some type of bias on the market, especially right now. We have a war in the Middle East, we have a lot of things going on. So it's really important that you wake up, you have that routine, catch the morning, figure out what's kind of happening. I saw this site that gives real-time news. Baja. Oh, you might want to watch putting links in the chat. Sometimes the bot will flag that stuff. But I don't know. I don't know it well enough to always know what it'll flag, because sometimes it'll flag images, and I didn't even think it would. I threw a picture of my keyboard in it, and mistakenly, nothing even trading related. It was off topic, but nonetheless, just be careful. And we got a bullish order block that's right below us as well. So if you're trying to get the sell, it starts at 157. It ends at 151. So if you get below 151, you should see that aggressive push down. Bulls are fighting. You got 2 minutes to the close. Amaro, I'm also seeing a top-sided target of 25,219. I think that lined up with yours, right? You had that on your chart, right? No. What was that? Oh, you were asking me about, I guess, upside targets on the NAS. Did you send something to me, Tip? Because I saw you. Oh, okay, okay. Never mind, never mind. I see what you're. Oh, that's pretty neat. Uh, All right, we got 1 minute till the end. Oh, 1 second, and there's the end of New York lunch. All right, let's see what they do for us today. Let's see. I'm just gonna stick with this since we're in it. I want to see what's gonna happen. Maybe we can get out of this. I do have some upside targets though. We're trying to get through that bearish order block now. Can we skill into this like we did earlier, just to get out of it? Let's see if we can skill in to get out. No, we're in two. Nope, I don't want that. I want to buy limit. I want to. 179. Am I expecting a push up? I'm not really sure. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, the bot is a little peculiar at times, so you just never know. Just don't want you to get gigged with anything. You know, it's really hard to say what will happen after New York lunch. Really, I was just trying to see if we come back. I'd like to see us pull, dip into the 200 and then catch a push up. But it's the end of the day, so this is the very hardest time of day to trade. Like this next like 2 hours will be the most difficult time to trade of all the future session because you have a bunch of retail traders, you have a few institutional traders, and some algos in the wild. So there's a lot of volatility right now. You may not even get a real trend. Most likely, what will end up happening is the algos that kick in during this time frame are all made to consolidate the market. They'll oscillate the market to where they'll end up burning people that are day trading options because they know that there's a lot more of those people than there are people trading futures. And it's very simple. If you go over to the SPY and you look at the volume on the SPY, I mean, there's like 4,000 orders on the chain right there, 5,000. You go into the queues, there's 1,025 orders. But look, we go over to MEQ, 35 orders, 45 orders, 63 orders, 75. All right, let's try NAS. 31, 32, 40, 45. That's not volume. That's not volume. That's not the volume you need to move the market. That's the volume to whip people out. The reason for that has to do with the lack of liquidity. So if you look at the DOM, let's take a look at the DOM for a second. I don't have level 2 on this chart, unfortunately. If we had like a heat map or book map up, which you'd see, you know what? I can get volume. I can get the volume. What did I just do? Get the volume profile. Where is it? Volume profile. There it is. Well, I don't know where my. Boo! We lost the candles. Oh, it's because I'm on too low of a time frame. My bad. There it is. So tell me about it. So basically, what will end up happening is all your bigger orders, you might end up having, let's say, like right here. Let's say you have 64 orders right here, and you have maybe like 25 here, and then you got like two. So price will move very quickly to these levels and it'll gravitate towards them very quickly because there's nothing in between. There's so little. So like you might have maybe like, let's say 6 here. And let's say that so like let's say you got 14 here, right? But then you got 25 sitting here because there's so little orders between the 25, the 6, and the 14. Price will just it'll teleport down. So when you guys see that evaporation, the elevator ride down, that's what it is. You don't have a lot of orders in between it. So it means the price can quickly move down in a rapid movement down. So that's why you have to be very careful with low volume. It's not so much that the market is moving very fast or abruptly. It's that there's not a lot of orders to stop because every time there's an order block, it stops the market. The market is going to freeze frame and get absorbed, and it's either going to bounce or it's going to continue going down. And if there's not enough orders there, what will happen? there's nothing for it to absorb. It will just eat it like a cracker and move on to the next cracker. It'll just go boom, 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 boom. It'll just keep eating those order blocks, boom, 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 because there's not enough orders. Now, if you come across an order block that there's like 500, well, now you're talking about a massive amount of volume. You have 500 orders on the chain that you got to eat through. You got to eat through all that. So obviously 6 was no problem. 14 wasn't a problem. 25 was easy peasy. 500, no way. It'll be an important pinnacle for you because of there being so many orders in there. And that's what will give you that slow movement. So like even like days that you see that we're selling and we're not selling that fast, that's what it is. If there's a bunch of orders sitting there that are holding price and not allowing price to move freely. I'm still trying to see if I can get out of this trade real quick. Picked up a few more cons, put my sell order, buy limit, put it at 25,166. But yeah, that's the one reason why like right now we can't expand up because there's still a ton of orders above us. So we got to eat through that block. If there wasn't a lot of sell orders there, we would have just flown right through it. But that goes to show that there's a lot of sell orders there. So that's what's suppressing price. Bulls are trying. There's just a lot of sell orders though. There's so many sell orders. I'd like to see the move up though. I am a perma bull. I am always, I always have a bull bias. It's just that, since the market by design is always designed to go up, that is why I have a bias. It's not any other reason other than that. It's just like a car. A car is designed to drive forward. It can drive backwards, but it is optimally designed to drive in a forward momentum, in a forward motion. So that's how I kind of look at the market is that it's designed to go up. So it'll always want to try to go up. Making the market go down is against its design by nature. So like for me, that's why I'm always like on a long bias. There has to be a reason why the market is selling for me. I gotta find. I have to have confluences to give me that bias. Looks like our short is working out for us again. Look at that. Took another red trade and made it green. Let's go. Oh, come on, just give it to us. 159. I'm gonna lower my take profit down to 159 before I get taken out. That's the bottom of the bullish order block, or that's the top of the bullish order block. So right there will be the top of the bullish order block. Right now, I'm trading between a bearish order block and a bullish order block. So bullish order block is the bottom of this 181. It ends right there, I believe. 187. And the bullish order block is 160 to 153. 54. Those your order blocks right there that we're fighting in right now. There are 2 points of control this could get to. One is at 25, 156, and the other is at 24, 875. Yeah, definitely. Could bring us back into a mean average for the day. I mean, right now, NASDAQ is sitting positive 1.69% for the day. So definitely, definitely it could bring us closer to that 1%, 1.2. I kind of look at that stuff too, how extended we are. Because for me, it's like, how strong is the trend? The bulls aren't there anymore, to push us, past these ranges. We've been in this range since 11:35. So we've been here almost an hour. We haven't gone anywhere. So, you know, I would be looking more on a short-sighted play. I'm only 4% down, 5% down on my Solana trade now too. So I'm still holding on to that one. I'm flat across the rest of my accounts, but it is the latter half of the day, and I've made my money for the day, so pretty much kind of done. Now we're just taking trades with the team. So far, so good. Hey, six, good call on that. Do you guys like that? You see how little drawdown we had on that? That's the second time we're fighting the trend. We fought the uptrend already twice and won. That other trade, I would have nailed it if I had been paying attention. Unfortunately, my bad. I wasn't paying attention. And there you go. There's another positive trade right there for you guys. All about sizing, like we've been talking about the whole morning. Keep those sizes small, mini micros, start off with the starter position, scale in as needed. You guys saw Mike did it with the single con today. I love that. I'd like to see him do M and Q. I would love to see him do M and Q because I want to see, think about it. If he's doing 40,000 in a day with the NQ, that's $4,000 with a mini micro. That's good money. That's real good money. Well, that just takes time. And he's got 30 years, 20 years plus. I don't want to make him sound that old. He's got a lot of years under his belt. He's at least got 20 years of market experience. Anybody that does anything for 20 years, they better be good at it if they're still here. You know? You want to see him do it with a drawdown in place? Yeah. It really depends on how you want to do it. I can do 50, 200, 300K challenges. But like for me, I want to get it done fast. And for me to pass like a 300K account, I already know what that is. I've got to try to make like 4 or 5 G's in a day. So that means I'm going to be taking like 3 NQ cons with my trade that I would normally take for me to be able to make, at least get to the halfway mark to where I could pass that eval in 2 days. And that's a lot of margin. And I don't want to, and I hate throwing away that kind of money blowing an account because I'm sizing that big. But I want to pass an account in like 2 days. And we're on the bottom of that bullish order block now. Good job. Yep. Yeah, that's exactly it. If I would trade with Mike, I would be taking a single and then scale in, or just take the single. You take that single, you wait for it to draw down on you like $100, you add another con there, and that should bring your DCA in. If you need to add the two there, and you should be pretty close to break even at that point. If you go into drawdown. That's just a tip. But you know what? If you guys are trying to do the morning session with him, don't live trade, paper trade. You need to you need to understand how that trade is going to work and how your sizing needs to be in it. And there's only one way you can get that experience, and that's paper trading. Until you feel comfortable and you can say you understand the sizing and what it needs, because by the time he takes the trade on the chart, it goes across the internet. You see it, you process that in your mind, you get your hand, move the mouse to the chart, get the ticker up, and try to get the right positioning or the right sizing, and then take the order. It's like 2 minutes. It's like 2 minutes. The trade is nowhere near the same trade it was when you saw it taken. That amount of time is crucial. Your entry could be substantially worse than what his was. Or you could take it on the push down, the push, and then where the pull comes back, you're just down like 30 points right there, like instantly. And then you're like there, like scratching your head, like, what do I do? What do I do? Well, you're either gonna have to stick it out or cut it, or you're gonna have to scale in. If you cut it, you already got the loss, so you're already in the hole, $40, maybe $60. So now the next trade has to be better. But if you haven't practiced or done paper trading to understand how to manage that kind of trade, you're not going to be successful at it. You're going to struggle. You're going to be in the same predicament you've been in for God knows how many months, because you're not learning anything. All you're doing is tormenting yourself because you don't want to practice. Now, I always say, Michael Jordan, Kobe, they always practice. Bo Jackson always practice. Muhammad Ali always practice. Mike Tyson always practice. All these champion athletes, they all have one thing in common across all these industries. They all practice. Why? I mean, you could make the same argument that practicing is pointless because there's no opponent there and, yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, you're still not practicing. And obviously there are superstars that practice all the time, and they're superstars. But the guys that are not putting in that effort and that practice, they're not. You hear the stories of those guys, Deion Sanders' story. That's an amazing story. You hear like guys like him, Bo Jackson, those guys that crossed, industries and stuff. They were killing it, man. They were beast mode. And you need to be like that as a trader. You need to be in your A game and in beast mode. And what does that take? That takes practice. And now we're getting that sell. Man, I should have held that short. That would have been killer right there. We got a press conference with Levitt, so we've got some news coming out. On the 32nd, we're on the 200 right now. We're literally sitting on it. Oh, we're under it on this chart. Was that VWAP? Let's see what happens with this bullet.